We are at the King Willem I College in Zetterenbos, one of the best colleges in the Netherlands. And I'm so happy to meet Rob de Vrind. He is coordinator sustainability at this college.
So for one day in a week I work for the Sustainable Vocational Education and Training in the Netherlands. And 4 days I work at this institute implementing sustainability in the trainings, but also making the whole organization more sustainable.
Because Cradle to Cradle is quite a change for King Willem I College. Do you remember the moment when you say, well, I think I'm now more in the Cradle to Cradle area than I'm in the sustainability area?
Yeah. And in 2006 there was the famous broadcasting of the Cradle to Cradle concept by the VPRO in Holland. And when I saw that film, it was for me an eye-opener and a new way of thinking, and that really struck me. So that was for me the first moment to say that we really have to start with looking at this concept and knowing more about Cradle to Cradle. Because Braungart and McDorrow, they came with solutions for China, for the automobile industry and so on.
2006, watching the film was a kind of decisive moment for you to go beyond sustainability?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, Cradle to Cradle says you may produce whatever you like if you have sustainable energy and if you have your resources. Well, then it's no problem you produce. And that's a better perspective than saying, well, we may not produce so much and we have to look after our raw materials and we have to reduce energy consumption. No, this is a positive way of looking at the future. Young people, if you are smart, there is a perspective. If we only use renewable energy and we use the raw materials we in the circle can use over and over, then it's not a problem for them, and they see new opportunities and they want to think with you and so on.
And now working on it for years, what has to be done in the future to go on beyond where you are now? As you told us, certainly in the 3 departments which are working now in that direction. Which milestones have to, which roadmap do you see for an ideal way?
So first we have to teach the teachers. They have to know about the concept and all the difficulties you have when you want to implement the concept. So the course we are now producing is very good because not so many people at this moment know about Cradle to Cradle. And if we have taught the teachers, then we can go to the students and let them do projects and so on, and let them find on the internet what's it all about, and let them tell the story of Cradle to Cradle to themselves, because they can better tell the story to their age than we can do that. And then more and more good examples and successful business cases should be introduced. And also I want to emphasize, don't push too hard when people are not ready for it. And it is like a swing, push the swing at the right moment and it will go. So if teachers are very busy with all kinds of other things, don't ask them also to pay attention to. But if they have some space and some time for trainings and education, then you should really involve them. And then all kinds of internships should take place in this field. So students are really involved in the whole production and what's happening in business and so on. So also from the companies we want to ask, involve students not with the common business but with the future. And
so internships in Cradle to Cradle companies.
Yes. Yeah.
Because of the Cradle and Cradle companies and industries where you can have internship with your students. Has it also something to do with the new competences for new skills? Is that an area where you're working on?
Yeah, yeah. students should ask the right questions and should really think about the materials which are used in all kinds of things which are produced. Where do they come from? Are they without toxic elements? Can you recycle them infinitely and so on? So if they understand the concept, the students will ask the right questions and they will be very valuable for companies.
What about examinations, part of the examination system? Is that something that could help implementing Cradle to Cradle?
Yeah. First you have to have the knowledge, then you have to learn an attitude, and then you have to practice it, and then you get your competences. And if you don't examine the knowledge and the attitude, you never know if the students really know what it's all about. Yeah.
You mentioned one of the things you shouldn't do, don't push too hard, because then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Are there other advices you would give to teachers and in schools like you, King Willem I College, in the other countries will say, please don't do that, because that hinders the implementation of the concept?
Well, don't emphasize too much that we have such problems in this world, but give them a perspective and give the students the idea that if they are smart in the future, they can be successful. And they can be smart in the future if they look at the cradle-to-cradle principle. So you are not smart if you don't look at it. And also in the cradle-to-cradle world, creativity is very important, and that's where students are good in. Their minds are not so much filled with all kinds of knowledge, and so they have a fresh way of looking at things. So they really have to be involved as young people going for a new young future. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You are involved since years in this business, if I may say so. If you look back and at the point where you are now and going to the future, was it worth the energy?
Yeah, it is always worth the energy. You see things are changing. In former days you have to really explain what's sustainability about, and people would argue with you that it is not so severe and we have no climate change and we all kind of things. You really had discussions. Now you don't have to discuss anymore. Everybody knows we are going to 10 billion people. What are we going to do then?
Mm-hmm.
We need solutions. All the companies are busy with the issue. So really things are changing. And I hope some students and young people are so smart that they have bright ideas we never thought about, and that we can go into another future.
So you see progress, you see results?
I see progress, yeah, and things which I couldn't dream of, that our brains are now in connection to each other every minute. And we can communicate with each other every minute we want to, and we can communicate to Thailand if I can phone Thailand at this moment if I want to, and with my mobile phone. So there are now new opportunities in which we can go to co-creation and co-creativity and co-production and thinking together. Distances doesn't occur anymore. Distances are easily bridged now. In no way they don't. So we can make a chain of all our brains and to let them work together. And I hope together we will solve the problems of the future more than that it has to come out of one brain.
Because they have quite a different concept of managing, which is not always in line with the concept of implementing cradle to cradle?
Yeah, implementing costs a lot of effort, and you don't see the results so directly. But afterwards they would say, oh, well, why is it so easy? Yeah, it wasn't so easy.
Can you say that you need trust, confidence?
Yes. For instance, also when we do internships and when I as an environmentalist come into a company, they don't like me to be in their company because I can have criticism and I can talk in a bad way about the company. So first you have to have trust, and they have to know that I'm not here to criticize, but we have to work together to a better future. And that's the issue, and not criticism. So then companies look in another way to the students and to the environmentalists, and we have to work together, and we have to celebrate the good things we do, and have to give it exposure, and then everybody becomes to become happy because of the Cradle to Cradle project gives a lot of new insights and opportunities for businesses.
It's a nice word, I think, for the finish of this interview, celebrate.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a very important issue in the Cradle to Cradle approach.
If it is fun for everybody, then you get more energy than everybody is saying this is not going to go and that is difficult and so on. So if we create fun, this will be a better place in the future.